Okay, so today we're gonna start where with your nest, and you're gonna need at least 3 blankets, pillows, a few pillows, and it can be a strap or a scarf. And Katra is gonna lie down just as we do in the setup class with her back onto the blanket. And you want to keep your blankets and your bolsters and all these things close by so you can have them ready. And for a lot of people, lying on the neck, on the head like this doesn't feel very good. So we're gonna build a little neck pillow. So if you grab this blanket, sorry, it's a bit awkward. And what you can do is to roll the top kind of side of the blanket down. So you make a tiny little half sausage roll. And how big it is really depends on how your neck behaves. And you're gonna put this underneath your head. Yes, and you see we're putting it downwards because the pokey part, the uncomfortable things, we don't want to be close to you. And these decorations also go away from your body as well. So as you lie down, you're going to try to have this roll just underneath the curvy part of your neck, your cervical. For some of us, that means quite far down towards the shoulder. So test, play with it a little bit. If you need higher, roll more. Need less, roll less. Yes? And really take your time to find comfort. Yeah. And a really nice adjustment to do is to bring your hands underneath your head and pull the skin of your neck up into your skull before you rest your neck back down. It's almost like the skin is going to grab you and going to hold you tight where you are. And another really nice thing to have is that support for your wrists, as we show you in the setup class. So we have 2 blankets here. Ideally, they should be identical. And noticing the difference between the folded side, so the side that has different layers on, and the round and smooth side. You want the round and smooth sides close to your body. So when you're folding it, make sure they're on the same height unless you have very different wrists. And you want the fuzzy or the folded part away from your body, the smoothest part that's underneath you. Yes. And you Kaja's doing a very thorough job in making sure there's no wrinkles everywhere. And do the skin of the neck again. And we also have the pillows close by, just so we have them. And initially, we're just going to keep the pillows, let's do on the left side of the leg, somewhere around your top thigh. I'm just going to put it around this height. We're going to play with it as we go. And as you lie down, bend your knees and have your feet on the floor. And this is actually why we have only the blanket in half of the mat. If you're wearing socks, then you can grip on the mat. That's the plan. And take a moment here just to feel your knees, your feet, and your hips. How does it feel in your knees right now? Can you feel the bend of the joint of the knee? Is there any pressure that you can perceive? And if you're at home, you're doing the same position, noticing, asking yourself, would it be more comfortable if you walk your feet further away from your hips, making more space for your knees? Is there any adjustments that will help you feel more comfortable? Maybe widening your feet more, maybe allowing your knees, your thighs to come closer together. This is a transitional position. We're just trying to test and find comfort here. And as you're lying still, finding the restfulness that's residing inside of you, how does that feel to breathe? How would you describe the speed, the temperament of your breathing? Can you even begin to slow this breath down just a touch? Maybe making each of your inhale and exhale just a little bit slower than the last one. Perhaps even noticing the pause in the top of the breath as you inhale fully, and that natural pause at the bottom of the exhales. It's almost like these are small pockets of time where your body just fully becomes still. Noticing as you're resting here, is there any urge, any itching will to move, to adjust? What kind of thoughts and ideas comes into your mind right now? And whenever you feel those coming up, can you invite your awareness back into the sensation of breathing? And slower breath and longer pauses in between these breaths. Now begin to notice if one side of your foot, one side of your hips perhaps feel heavier. Maybe your body has a tendency to lean, to rely on one side. And can you follow that invitation and slowly dropping your knees towards that side? It can be left, it can be right. We're just very lightly moving the knees towards one side, noticing how it moves all the way down into your pelvis, your hips. And maybe experimenting moving to the opposite direction. And as we transition, as we move, it's easy that we lose sight of that stillness, of that space in between. Whenever you're doing a transition, a movement that I'm inviting you to do, slow down so you can really feel every single tiny movement. It's almost like we're watching a documentary in slow motion. We see animals just unfolding, so we don't lose any beauty. Slowly allowing your legs, your pelvis to come in towards the center. When you're ready, draw your right knee into the chest and hugging that knee in. Giving your arms, your hands around the thigh. Maybe just very lightly moving your knees from side to side, left and right. Noticing how it feels to be compressing your thighs onto your stomach, that deep joint of the hips. And you're ready, releasing this foot back down to where it was before. And this time your left knee into your chest and your soft hug, maybe playing with rolling it from side to side. And from here, bring your hands underneath that thigh so you can straighten this left leg. And as you straighten this leg, noticing when you begin to feel the back of your leg, the hamstring. And can you highlight this sensation by thinking about spreading the skin of the back of the knee? So it feels like you're trying to lift the skin from the back of your knee upwards into the sky, and you're trying to reach it downwards in towards your sits bone. And as you find that tension, begin to point and flex your toes, so upwards and down. And maybe starting from the small movement, just noticing how, where, what kind of sensation do you feel right now? Perhaps it's a sense of soreness, a tightness. Or maybe for you it feels like a sourness, a flavor. Maybe accentuating this movement, making it bigger. Your toes pointing all the way down, heels up. Ooh. And the opposite, toes up, heel down. And maybe noticing how much further in your leg, in your calf, your shin, do you also feel this? If it feels good for you, begin to draw a circle in this ankle. And as we do transition, use this as an opportunity to explore how does that feel in every single tiny little corners. It's like we're trying to study in the nerdiest little detail. How do my ankle feel when I turn? And go in the opposite direction when you feel ready for it. And from here, finding that strap you have close by, or a scarf or a belt, and you're going to have that strap or scarf around the bottom foot. And when we transition from restorative poses, it's a very good idea to try to keep your neck and your stomach out of the equation. So move your leg towards yourself, bending at the knee as you move. As your strap come to the foot, place it towards the top part of the foot, towards the ball, the very thick part. And think about you pressing your inner thigh upwards, your inner shin, and the ball of your foot in towards the strap. So you're almost doing a Barbie foot position. Your toes just very lightly pointing down. And in this place, spread the back of your knee completely, so you're really straightening. And begin to release your right leg down towards the ground. If you haven't already, testing how close, how far this leg has to be towards yourself. We want just a degree of opening in the back thigh, but nothing crazy. You're not holding your jaw. You're not thinking about quitting this straight away. And with your hands grabbing hold of the strap, notice if you can walk your hands further down to allow your shoulders, your arms to be heavy and relaxed. And still pressing the ball of your foot upwards. We're going to stay here for about 4 breaths. And awareness back into that breathing, noticing as you inhale, your stomach, your ribs broaden, not just upwards, but to the side and down to the floor. And noticing your ribs soften down as you breathe out. Maybe even allowing this breath to be slightly louder than you normally would, so you can listen. And be marinated in the sound, the flow of this breath. And from here, grabbing hold of the strap in your left hand and taking inhale in the center. And exhale, open this leg out to the side. So your leg will end up resting onto those pillows, bolster, whatever it is that we had prepared before. You're still pressing through from your inner thigh out through the groin, through the ankle into your Barbie foot. So you indeed feel quite a long opening along the inner side, your inner leg. If you need more support for your inner thigh, higher pillows. If you need less support, lower your pillows. Inhale, noticing the breath broaden in your ribs, the back of your body pressed down to the floor. And each of you exhale, your ribs, your stomach soften down. And taking the last 2 breaths here, noticing if you're still pressing, reaching out through your inner thigh into the ball of the foot. And from here, drawing your stomach in and using that to help you lift this leg back up through center. Bend the knee to release the strap, keeping your head, your chest heavy as best as you can, and allow this leg to rest down towards the ground. And just a moment here to notice the difference. Notice any residual sensation, the feeling of things moving, that fuzzy, cozy little buzz happening underneath your skin. Now moving the pillows to the other hip, the outer leg, trying best you can to keep your chest and your neck relaxed. We're just setting ourselves up for the opposite direction. We already know what to do, so bring this right leg in, keep the knee bent to put the strap onto the ball of the foot, the front part. Press that foot up into the strap and walking your hands down so your shoulders, your arms, your chest allow to release. And first working on spreading the back of your knee, the skin lifting upwards and downwards simultaneously. In keeping this leg straight, maybe that means your thigh has to go a little bit away from your stomach. Yeah. And prioritize your spreading, broadening the back of your leg completely. And then you'll work on getting a bit closer, maybe, if it allows you to have space for it. And To be honest, any practice that we do in yoga is not about how far we can touch our toes, it's not about how deep we can go, but it's more about how you feel. Experiment with how it feels if you lift your inner thigh upwards in towards the inner ankle and press through the ball of the foot, so your shape is more like a Barbie foot. Noticing how it changes, how you feel in your back of the calf. Noticing how you breathe now in this position. Can you still feel the breath broadening into the back of the body, the bottom tip of your lungs spreading down in towards the lower back? And feeling your front ribs, your stomach soften as you breathe out each time. Now grabbing hold of the strap in your right hand, taking inhale in the middle, spreading back of the leg, and exhale, open up, resting this leg onto the support. Bolster, pillow, anything that works. If you need to adjust the position of your support, you might as well do it. And comfort is king in this practice. Even though we're keeping an engagement through the inner thigh out through the ball, we're still keeping a degree of comfort from the support of the bolster. Noticing if you can relax your left side body more, so your ribs, your left back of the spine can release further down to the ground. And as you continue to extend through the inner thigh, begin to capture information. How is this sensation to you? How would you describe how you're feeling right now? Is there a specific location, texture? What kind of phrases, what kind of adjectives comes into your mind? Could it be a sense of sharpness, a sense of sourness, or a bright note, lemony, zesty? Now drawing your navel in and slowly lifting this leg back up through center, bending the knee to release the strap. So you can allow this leg to rest down onto the ground. Little moment here to notice that still very fresh, very obvious sensation from that stretch. And maybe noticing as time goes by, that sensation begins to feel less intense, less obvious. Noticing how, when you perceive the sensation as unnoticeable anymore, it's as if you don't feel the back leg, your inner thigh any longer. And in studying sensation and the body, the sensation of nothing, that you feel no tightness, no sharpness, no lemony, sourly sensation, is what we want. That means our body is happy, it's balanced, it's comfortable. Now with the pillow or pillows that you had before, you're going to bend the knees and position this pillow underneath your bent knees. If you can do it without lifting yourself, do that. If you need to come sitting up, roll to the side to come sitting up. And with the pillow that we have different shapes, the pointy side, the slightly narrow, and the wider side. And you can see we want to have the pointy, narrow side lifting up into the back of the knee. That allows a bit more blood flow in your legs, and it feels a little bit more comfortable most of the time. And we're going to readjust and really make everything squishy and comfortable now. Noticing as you rest that initial moment, any sharpness, any uncomfortable sensation. Do you need to readjust the skin on the back of your neck, the back of your head? Maybe once again lifting the skin from your neck upwards into your skull and into your hair, letting your shoulders rest. And when you're ready, lift your arms up into the sky. Point your palms away from your feet. Bend the elbows so you can press your fingertips down to the ground. Press down to lift your shoulder just a touch. And draw your shoulders wide and away from your neck before you rest it back down. And sometimes when you do that, you feel your back starting to lift up. Maybe you arch a little bit more than before. Then you lift your hips just a touch and try to roll your spine onto the ground. Your lower back doesn't have to touch completely, but eliminating a big curve is going to allow you to feel more comfortable. If your arms have smooth position, maybe adjusting where the blankets are. You want the support of the blanket go just at the bend of the wrist, kind of parallel or perpendicular to the direction of the arm. And you want it to go right at the bend of the joint so you don't feel it in your forearm as you rest longer. Now just a little last thing. Keep your right leg on the pillow or bolster and lift your left leg up. Roll your inner thigh down before you rest this leg back onto the bolster. And this allows your inner thigh to slightly roll inwards, and our hips really like that. And the other leg, left leg, inner thigh, and rolls resting it back down. And with your ankle, flex your feet before you're releasing them. It gives a little bit more space in the back of your ankle. If you're warm enough where you are, you're welcome to just be. If you have an extra blanket handy close by, put it on yourself. We're going to be here for a little while, and most of the time as we stay, our body temperature will drop and you'll feel quite a bit colder than you initially thought. If you have a eye pillow, an extra blanket, it's a really good idea to create a little cover for your eyes. We're using a blanket here. If you have a firm blanket, this will work. You're going to fold it just into a slightly triangular shape where you create a tiny little lift in the middle, and that will avoid it to go completely collapsing onto your eyes or your face. That creates just a little coziness and a little warmth and a little darkness for your face. And checking, using this last opportunity to see if you're truly indeed comfortable. Making any last adjustments that you need. Maybe taking an inhale through the nose and open your mouth to let out a sigh. And taking as many of these as you need. When you're ready, commit to being still. Noticing in this position the sensation of your inhales and exhales. Noticing when the inhale happens, the pause, and when the exhale happens, that pause on the bottom. And become fascinated, become consumed by your breathing. And from here, we'll do a counting exercise with our breath. In your mind, on your next inhale, count to number 11 and exhale to 11. Inhale to 10 and exhale to 10. And inhale to 9, exhale to 9. And continue counting this breath towards 0. If you have already found 0 in the count, just start from 11 again. If you lose count at any point, just start from 11 again as well. The goal of the practice is not to get 0, but to focus our mind on our breathing instead. So continue counting for just a moment longer. And gently let go of the count. Noticing how, when this pose arrives in your body, noticing how your body is resting here, being breathed. Anytime thoughts, ideas criticism comes into your mind, just gently come back to focusing on your breathing without judgment, without prosecution. We're just being very gentle, guiding our awareness towards our internal sensations. Feeling the inhale, the ribs broaden, the bottom of your lungs reaching down. And the exhale, your stomach, your ribs soften down. And inhale, finding space in your body. And exhale, softness. And begin to get used to the idea of moving again. Bring movement in your fingers, your toes. It's as if we're trying to learn how to move our body. If it feels nice for you, perhaps turn your head softly side to side. If it feels nice for you, perhaps bringing your hands up, just very lightly covering your eyes, removing the cover, blanket, eye pillow from your face. If it feels nice for you, maybe taking a stretch through the whole body, your arms, your feet away from one another. And in no rush at all. And softly and gently roll onto one side, left or right. Resting for a moment on that side. As you're resting your awareness into your heart center, the center of your chest. And feeling that fuzzy, that cozy feeling of your heart pulsating, vibrating in your chest. Noticing from this place, do you have any inspiration, any motivation to make changes in your life? As we're doing this program, perhaps an innovation or a motivation for you is to rest deeply, to feel more calm in your life. And I'll invite you to make this motivation into an intention. An intention is a short, positive statement about something you would like to change in the life. And you will make this sentence in present tense. For example, if you want more rest in your life, you would make a sentence, I rest deeper in my life. Or you can think about making it, I feel rested every day. So take a moment, think about the intention. And when you have decided the intention, repeat it 3 times, silently to yourself. And allowing this seed of the intention to spread into your body. And from here, pressing your hand down onto the floor and gently help yourself up into a sitting position. Sitting anywhere that allows your spine to be long, lifted. And if you want to, invite you to do it with me. palms together in front of the chest. Bring our hands in front of the forehead. Remind us of clear and loving thoughts. Hands in front of the heart to remind us of clear and loving intentions. And bring the hands in front of our mouth to remind us of clear and loving communications. And bring our hands back in front of the heart, lift the heart, and softly bow the chin. Thank you for your practice today. Namaste.